Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I'd like to talk about the topic of goddess spirituality, and I'd like to talk about Mary as a goddess. And I wanted to talk about this today for a couple of reasons, but what the main point I want to make about the idea of Mary or Mother Mary as goddess is that it can be a bit problematic for some people and for some women. And it is actually a bit problematic for me, but I will explain why, and I will explain some context and include quite a bit of historical and cultural context about the idea and the image of Mary or Mother Mary as goddess. So I've written down quite a number of points, and I have to read my own handwriting here, so you'll need to bear with me a little bit. Now, the first point I want to make about the idea of Mary, and I'm talking about the mother of Jesus as goddess and as a role model for women today, is Mary as the mother of Jesus has a very strong connection to the church. By that I mean the original church, which is the Catholic Church that was formed in about 300 AD or 300 CE, Common Era. Now, the whole image of Mary, there's sort of two things about this. The original image and context of Mary, the mother of Jesus. The whole context from the church is that this is a virgin mother. So this isn't just Mother Mary. This is the Virgin Mother Mary, with a very big emphasis on virgin and virginity. So when you get that context, you realise when there's such an emphasis on virginity and being a virgin mother, you realise that straight away that is, quite an unrealistic context. And what this feeds into is what is called the virgin whore dichotomy. So that is where you have Mary Magdalene fulfilling the role as the whore, and you have the Virgin Mary, which is the Virgin Mother Mary. So that Mary, the mother of Jesus, cannot be an ordinary mother. She has to be a virgin mother. So to put a bit of historical context into this, there is a historical context and there is a cultural context as well. Historians are fairly sure that there was a real person, there was a real Jesus who was born in the Middle East, who was Jewish, and he was born about 3 or 4 BC. And he would have had a mother, and his mother may have been a real person called Mary. So I don't want to get into beliefs or anything like that. I'm trying to sort of stick with historical fact. Now that is the Middle Eastern historical context of a person called Jesus. And even the name Jesus or Jesus Christ is actually a Greek name, and the Jewish name would have been Yeshua for Jesus. What happened many years after the actual birth of Jesus? We're going up to the years of the Greek and Roman Empire, and the first Christian church, which is the Catholic Church, that was not founded until about 300 AD, 300 years later. And the background historical and cultural context of the Greco-Roman times. The Greeks had an obsession with virgin goddesses. Now, this is according to historians and archaeologists, so I'm wanting to stay here with academic scholarship. So the Greeks liked to have virgin pure goddesses and virgin mothers. That was part of the goddess pantheon idea. They even had goddesses who were not born of woman, just like the Jesus idea. So the goddess Athena, for example, was said to have been born out of the head of Zeus, so that even Athena was not seen to have been born of a woman. The other bit of context, historical context to think about here as well, is that the ancient Greeks actually equated women with slaves and or property. So women had no rights at all, absolutely none. So I'm stating facts here. This is not any bias of mine. These are historical facts. So we've got all of this historical, cultural background and ideas that fermented, that formed these ideas, because the Greek ideas greatly influenced the Romans when the Roman Catholic Church was set up in about 300 AD. Now, once you get to the foundation of the Catholic Church, what I'm leading up to here is the fact that the image of the Virgin Mother Mary, the whole image was created by the Catholic Church. We're not talking about the real Mother of Jesus here. We're talking about the Virgin Mother Mary, the whole image and context that was created by the Catholic Church and created by the hierarchy of the Church. I'm just going to show you an image. The High Priestess. Some people may not be aware that Arthur Waite was raised Catholic. Does this look a bit familiar? Looks an awful lot like the Virgin Mary, wearing the blue cloak, the moon at her feet. The crown with a Queen of Heaven title. So if people keep in mind that Arthur Waite was raised Catholic, to me this High Priestess card was based on the Virgin Mary. And what is really interesting about this as the High Priestess is another thing to keep in mind. My sister is a Catholic theologian, and the Catholic Church does not allow women to be priests. So I actually prefer this image of the High Priestess. Because this is a priestess, and this is a High Priestess who is enthroned. On to some more points. So for me, the whole church connection image with Mother Mary, the Virgin Mother Mary, is not representative of real women for me. Because there is the church context which is misogynistic, and it is connected with impossible imposed standards on women. Yes, I was raised Catholic. I have lived this. And I walked away from this 25 years ago, and I have never looked back. I have never had one regret. I think you might be able to figure out why. So the church connection with the Virgin Mother Mary is not something that I aspire to. When I was a much younger woman, a much younger female, probably yes, in a few ways, but not for a very long time. I prefer the High Priestess image, as I was saying, because it's much more empowering. And it's much more empowering than the Virgin Mother Mary church-connected context, because that is connected to a suffering, compliant Virgin Mary. So that is why the Mother Mary, or Mary as a goddess, is problematic for me. And I do not, I'm wanting to say this today just to point this out to some women who may become interested in the Mother Mary image, that there is all of this historical context and cultural context connected with this, just to be aware of. So what I would say about all of these connections of the Virgin Mother Mary with the church is that keep in mind that the Mother Mary is still chained. I know that there has been a book called Jailbreaking the Goddess. I would say that this is a goddess or role model, an image, an icon that needs to be unchained. The Virgin Mother Mary is still chained in that church context. The other thing I want to talk about now is the actual artistic image of Mary. So what I want to let people know is that there is the real person of who Mary was as the mother of the real Jesus. But there is also another more ancient context that's coming in here as well. Historians have known for quite a while now that the titles that have been given to Virgin Mother Mary, Queen of Heaven, Stella Maris, Star of the Sea, These are titles that were all used for Isis or Ozset. The Egyptian name for the goddess is Ozset, but the Greeks changed that name to Isis. So that is why, another reason why I prefer to see Mother Mary as Isis or Ozset, and the High Priestess card. So what I'm going to talk about now with the Isis image is the image of Mother Mary that's changed over time too, because there has been a whitewashing, not only of the facts about Mary, there has been a whitewashing of her image, of her skin colour. Egypt is in northern Africa. So we are looking at, even in the Middle Eastern context, we are looking at a brown-skinned or even darker Isis or Ozset, which is what the church image of Mary is based on. So the real Mary, the Middle Eastern Mary, would have been brown-skinned or even darker when you think about the Egyptian goddess that Mother Mary is actually based on. So what happened over time is, of course, there was the real Mother Mary, a real person called Jesus. And then over time, as the Roman Catholic Church was established, you get up to the medieval times and then the Renaissance. Look at how white. Yes, this is based on a Madonna image. This is the Golden Tarot by Cat Black. And this is the Queen of Wands card. And yes, it was taken from a Madonna image. And so look at how white the skin is. Just checking further notes here. So what I'm getting at here now, what I'm going on to here now, is the image and concept of the Black Madonna. And I don't know how many people are aware of the Black Madonna, but there have been several hundred statues that have been found in different parts of the world, including Europe, of Black Madonnas. And there has been a theory over the last few decades that possibly the Black Madonna was to do with the darkening of the statues over time. I don't really accept that. I don't really agree with that. There was another theory by art historians that it may be based on the goddess Kali. Possible, but I think probably unlikely. My theory is that during the medieval times, when most of these statues are probably taken from, that they actually became aware of the Isis Ozset connection to Mary, and that these Black Madonnas are actually images of the Isis Ozset goddess, mother and child. So I'm going to show you a few cards now from the Mother Mary Oracle deck and the images that I prefer from that deck. You look at this image here. This is what the Black Madonna statues basically look like. This is closer to the real Mary and the even older goddess Isis, Osset. So I much prefer these images. Because they're closer to the real Mary and the real person. And yes, if you want to think of this as a goddess, I think of this as Osset or Isis. And these images are quite beautiful. You don't need whitewashed images of Mary when it's actually not real. It's not the truth. This one, too. After all, we are all out of Africa. I love the title of this one, Our Lady of the Dark Mysteries. So I'm pretty sure I covered most of the points I want to make here. Now I'm going to finish up here and talk about some books. Some books that tell a more accurate historical background about goddesses, and books that include information about Mother Mary and the Virgin Mother Mary, and the connection to the goddess Isis. The first one is The Once and Future Goddess by Elinor Gadon, and this has got a great chapter on Virgin Motherhood and the Black Madonna. And Elinor Gadon is an art historian, and this book, I'm pretty sure it's still available, but it gives a great historical and cultural context on different goddesses. So this is The Once and Future Goddess. Quite a thick book. It's a great book. Pretty sure it's still available. The subtitle is A Sweeping Visual Chronicle of the Sacred Female and Her Re-Emergence in the Cultural Mythology of Our Time. I love the title of the book too, The Once and Future Goddess. So I've just marked the title of the particular chapter in this book, which is called Is the Virgin a Goddess? ? And the problem of the Immaculate Womb. In other words, the whole idea of virgin motherhood and where did that come from. So that is a great chapter in the book. talks about the Black Madonnas as well, a little bit, but it's a great book. The Once and Future Goddess by Elinor Gadon. The next one is another classic, Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood, a treasury of goddess and heroine lore from around the world, by Merlin Stone, author of When God Was a Woman. There are terrific black and white pictures in this, black and white drawings in this book. There are poems. It's a wonderful book. It's from goddesses all around the world. It does not include the Virgin Mary, the Virgin Mother Mary, but it does have great information on Osset Isis in here. It's a great, it's very good. So, Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood. So, very, very well researched. So, yeah, great book, Ancient Mirrors of Womanhood. And the third and last book is The Goddess Path by Patricia Monaghan. This has a chapter on Isis and the connections to the Virgin Mother Mary. So it has some background there, and it also includes the titles that were used first of all for Isis, and then later adapted and connected to Virgin Mother Mary. They were sort of tapped on many, many years later. So here is Patricia Monaghan, The Goddess Path, Myths, Invocations and Rituals. It's a great book too. I'm pretty sure all three of these books are still available and that they are really worth getting. So I think that's about it. I think that's most of what I wanted to say. But I made this video today, like I said, for these two reasons, because the idea of Mary as goddess can be quite problematic because of the connections to the church, the historical and cultural connections, and the fact that the whole image of the church Virgin Mary is really to do with, it's not to do with the real Mary as a person, it's to do with it being based on the goddess Isis. And just to be mindful of that, and to be mindful of the whitewashing of the images of Mary as well, because we're talking about racial context here. And I wanted to point out from this historical, cultural and racial context why the whole idea of having Mary as a goddess, it needs to be it needs to be an empowering role model, not when it has these church connotations and church connections, where this whole idea of virginity being linked with divinity and virgin motherhood, these are impossible standards that have been imposed on women involved with the church over a long period of time, and all of this is still happening. This is why women connected to the Catholic Church are still not allowed to enter the priesthood, and are basically just kept in their place and kept down, and not treated as equals at all. So I hope everyone enjoyed some background information about Mary, the real person of Mary, and the idea of Mary as goddess or Mary as deity. Just be very careful about what form of Mary and the Mary image that you are actually embracing. So I'll put all the details below the video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.